we have both remote and in-person media, so we will be going back and forth between the different media. We'll begin with the on-site media first. I believe Scott has the first question.
Yeah, so hello, Scott Robertson from Dota Esports. I have a question for Ethan here. Many have dubbed you as the team's veteran presence, someone with big stage and big match experience. Who are the veterans that you spent time playing with, both in CS and VAL, that you learned the most from, whether it's by playing with them or playing against them or even just watching them?
Honestly, like any team, I was always a support player on any team. So, you know, just after years, you obviously pick up a lot of stuff no matter who you play with.
Thank you. For the on-site media, if you have a question, please queue up by the microphone and we'll call on you. We'll go with the pre-submitted question first. This is for E.G. Potter and Bustio from the Valorant competitive community. Curious about the map vetoes. Why did you feel Split was more dangerous than Bind or Pearl?
Go ahead, Bustio. I think in my head, we're maybe a little weaker on those maps, or not much weaker, but maybe a little bit. And I watched their VODs and I thought they were very good on Split. And we would just prefer to play Bind and Pearl, I think.
I think our Split is just as good. It's definitely a good confidence map for us. Going into this series, we noticed that we had quite a large veto advantage, and we could play around with Floating Haven, play around with seeing if they vetoed our fracture, and so we took advantage of that.
We'll go with the on-site media next. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Elisa from the Spike.gg. Despite this loss, EG has come farther than anyone expected. What are you most proud of as a coach of a team that has beaten the odds?
Ooh, there's actually so many things that we're all very proud of this year. But you know, just sticking with it, and everyone working hard day in and day out, even through all the trials and tribulations that we've gone through as a squad together. But everyone showed up every day and put in the work. So that's why we're here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian?
Yes, Pedro I got a question for Potter. This series was one in which at the very latter end of map 2 and map 3 was a series of streaks, and it became such that it became difficult for each of the two teams to take momentum from the other and seize the issue for themselves. And so for you, what made it so difficult for you and the rest of the team to wrestle that momentum away from PRX in the latter stages of those final 2 maps of the series?
Yeah, you know, in map 2, we just we made our adjustments a little bit too late. I think we had a couple of the wrong reads, unfortunately, and PRX are such an explosive team. They were able to really capitalize off of our gaps for Bind. In the 3rd map, again, we were calling so well. We had all the information we needed. We won both pistols, won both bonuses. We had everything we needed to close out this series.
Thank you.
Scott, if you have another one, go ahead.
Yeah, this can be for either Potter or Bustio, obviously, or anyone else wants to chime in. Obviously, we don't know who your opponent tomorrow is. Could be Fnatic or Loud. Fnatic, a team you've had trouble with in a best of 5, but they had the map advantage. Loud, a team that you've gone back and forth with throughout the year. Do you have a preference between either two teams?
Fnatic, for me. They beat us twice in Tokyo, and it'd be nice to complete the champs run with beating Fnatic and then re-beating PRX.
We'll go next to Nicholas Rocha, who's remote.
Okay, are you listening to me?
Nicholas, we're not here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, GG guys. My question goes to Bustio. We saw a game with a lot of pressure for both teams. At this moment, with more calm, what do you think could have been the key to closing the 3rd map?
I think we did make a lot of mistakes, and I think that's normal. It's a very high pressure, biggest tournament of the year, you know, map 3. I clearly did not play well. I can't put any blame onto my teammates, but I think we did have some pretty big mistakes late into map 3. But it's fine, you know, you just go next and just focus on the next match.
Thank you.
We'll go next to esports.
Yeah. Hi, Brandon with esports.gg. This one's for Tom. You had a killer first map, and obviously nobody on the team played bad. It came down to the wire. But when you have performances like that, and the team as a whole kind of isn't able to close things out, what does that do kind of to the spirit of the team, and how are you guys able to bounce back from having lost such a close game?
I don't think my team, everyone did their job today. Obviously, losing a couple clutches in map 3 sucks, and felt like we really had control of that map. I made like a mistake towards the overtimes at the end as well. Like, everyone makes mistakes. I don't think there's anyone to blame or anything. I think my performance is because my teammates helped set me up as well.
Pedro?
Yes, I got a question for Ethan. You played the Yoru on Pro, and I want to know your perspective as to what PRX did that made it difficult for you to play to your standard in that map. What went wrong, what went right, and anything in between.
Defense was pretty easy. But on attack, Yoru's just the kind of agent, and you're just that dive agent, right? So we kind of trying to set up Max a little bit, and I'm kind of that guy that just goes in and tanks everything. So, if you get unlucky with a TP, that's your round basically. So it's kind of hard, but that's the role. So I'm just trying to do it.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Potter. Everyone on your team is flexible in terms of their agent pool. We constantly see some of you guys playing 3 agents across the best of 3s. How important do you think that is into your team's success at Tokyo and Champs this year?
Very important, being flexible and being able to play around with your game plan and also having the option to just switch things up last minute when things aren't working. All of these luxuries have been awesome for us as a squad in the last couple of months. So it's definitely something that we're still exploring. But just being flexible in general, it's absolutely a necessity at this level. So I think as we go next year, you're going to see even more players being flexible.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hi, question for Com and Demon One. I think players and fans associate both of you with particular agents, Jet in your case and Sova in yours. I'm curious if you've seen the patch notes that were released today and what you make of the changes to those agents and how might that change your play going forward?
I don't really look at it. I'll play whatever agent I put on. I'm comfortable on most characters, so.
Yeah, and for me, they didn't change that much about Sova. It's just like a 2 ping thing. So I think even in pro play, you don't really get a full 3 ping, so it's not like a huge change for me, at least.
Thank you.
We'll go to Ganesh from Strafe next. Go ahead.
This is for Potter. On bind.
Give us 1 second. Okay, now go.
Yeah, this is for Potter. On bind, we saw EG getting a good lead, like getting 9-5, and then struggling to attack on sites. What do you think was going wrong? Was there something particular PaperX were doing that was halting your side takes?
Yeah, it seemed like we were overthinking it a little bit as a squad. And there were moments where we weren't decisive enough. I think if we were to go back and rewatch this, I think we would see that we had enough to make some of our execs work. I think we were up 11-9, 11-8. I forget exactly the round. But it came down to that B exec. And I believe one of our players had like the perfect read. So we were in the right spot. We were getting the right communications across, but just a little bit unlucky.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro.
So I got a question for Boostio. In a prior interview that you did during the earlier parts of the competition, you mentioned about how the team worked to specialize within one specific agent for a map. Example, Yoru in Pro. We saw a similar occurrence again this series with Chamber and Bind. So I want to know what makes it possible for you guys to select Chamber in that map compared to the other options in the table.
I think the comp makes most sense for our team. Max, our Demon One, is an insane Chamber player, of course, the best game in the world. So it kind of makes sense for him to be on it. And I think just Jet and like just other duelists aren't as good as Rays, so just throw them on Chamber and good to go.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for Evil Geniuses? EG? Oh, wait, we have one more. Snake, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My question is for Boostio. So Paper X is a very unorthodox team, right? Because due to that, many opponents find it very difficult to call shots against them. Having faced them before and defeated them before, how was your experience as an IGL in today's series? And where do you think you might have gone wrong, overall?
To be honest, it's kind of funny, but this match and Tokyo match felt so similar. Like the feeling, like the vibe I get from it, like thinking back on the match, it's like it feels so impossible sometimes just to play rounds against them. And it's like honestly just not fun to play against them. They're really good, but just they're so aggressive. Like I'll be trying to call something and then two of them swing out mid doors and then we'll trade and then it's not the best call anymore because they know where we're at. So there's a lot of going on versus them and it sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Thank you.
Thank you. This will be final call for any questions for EG. EG, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.